My name is Michael Harris, and I'm the president of the Earth Charter community of the Lower Valley, and that's because we're an Inc., because we have a 501c3 designation. We call ourselves ECCoLoV. That's the acronym for Earth Charter Community of the Lower Valley. And if you're interested in more of my thoughts about what it means to be a corporation doing this work, it's an interesting thing to think about. But we are, and that's what we need to do in order to ask for donations that can be tax deductible, which we are today, to support this work. And so we have a board of directors, and we run it like a corporation. So I'm here just to take a couple of minutes to introduce our speaker today. A protagonist is a proponent for or an advocate of something. A protagonist puts forward, argues in favor of, and supports. In Garth Stein's The Art of Racing in the Rain, the protagonist suffers a long ordeal, yet with persistence, verve, and grace, only to have revealed in the end a bigger and more beautiful picture than ever could be imagined. A woman named Gabrielle wrote to me recently, "I personally managed to throw out the framework that I had been programmed to think some years back. It's not easy, but if you become conscious of what you are thinking and change every negative thought to a positive one, it'll totally change your life." I'm at the point now where I'm able to create synchronicity in my life consciously and so create the kind of life I want. In the Awakening the Dreamer, Changing the Dream Symposium, we offer this distinction. Taking a stand is not the same as taking a position. A position is usually against something. It calls up the opposition. I say up, it generates down. I say right, it creates left. A stand is something quite different. A stand for something is for something, not against something. A stand comes from the heart, from the soul, and is always life-affirming. Stand takers are people who change the course of history. They are the source of causing an idea's time to come. Amazing, unexpected, unpredictable things happen when a person takes a stand. Activist Guy McPherson writes, "I believe I will not live through the ongoing collapse, but I will fully engage the collapse and act as if I will survive it." Acting as if is one rapid and appropriate way to ensure that something positive happens. Rosa Parks sat on the bus as if doing so were right. And of course it was. Economic collapse is likely to reach your house within 2 years, and perhaps much earlier. What will it take before you notice the warning shots? If you abandon the empire too early, before the lights go out, before the shelves are bare in the grocery stores, before the water stops coming out of the taps, you'll forego some of the imperial fruits. On the other hand, you'll be ahead of the curve. And if you think the empire cannot fall within a couple of years, you're reading a different set of tea leaves than the dozens of petroleum geologists, social critics, thought leaders, writers, historians, and economists I've been paying attention to. What will it take before you note the moral imperative, the real costs of everyday choices based on cheap living within the mainstream culture of the industrial economy? Charles Eisenstein is a stand taker. He writes, "For people immersed in the study of any of the crises that affect our planet, it becomes abundantly obvious that we are doomed. Politics, finance, energy, education, healthcare, and most importantly, the ecosystem are headed toward near certain collapse. I feel the despair of knowing that our best efforts are dwarfed by the forces driving us toward catastrophe. The Ascent of Humanity, Charles's recent book, speaks to this despair. In answer, he offers plausible and unexpected optimism, calling forth the metaphor of addiction and recovery. He writes, "When the above-mentioned crises converge, when we experience acutely and undeniably that the situation is out of control, when the failure of the old regime is utterly transparent, then solutions that appear hopelessly radical today will become matters of common sense." What do all these things have in common? The pain and fear of deepening our awareness, the experience of creating our own reality, the removal of judgment of our thoughts. Money is one of, if not the most prevalent, ubiquitous, invisible belief constructs in our world today. Charles Eisenstein is here to talk about this story of money and how it is changing and how it must and simply will change. Charles Eisenstein remembers always asking deep questions. He graduated from Yale with degrees in math and philosophy, yet he felt no closer to a truth to which he could believe. He traveled to China and learned the language. In his late 20s, all of his professional work became intolerable, and he entered a period of crisis. He taught at Penn State, but started writing as well. Currently, he is working on a book called Sacred Economics, due this summer. He now works for Goddard College and travels delivering his message, the very rich message that has emerged as a result of his catharsis. His work focuses on two areas that deeply resonate with me and undergird the work of the recently opened ECCoLoV Earth Wellness Center in Deep River. These two areas are holistic health and the transformation of human consciousness and civilization. I believe Charles' message represents an aspect of a possibility for human consciousness that should be promoted. Garth Stein, in his book, says, "The car goes where the eyes go." So please welcome Charles Eisenstein.
Thank you. Thank you.